Hi, everyone, and thank you for your amazing feedbacks about the videos and asking me to continue. So here I am with my drawings and talkings. Um, been, been going on in my mind lately a lot about gratitude. I see that in all the arts and in all the philosophies and in all the esoteric practices, there is always a big emphasis about gratitude, yeah, as being sort of like the lubrificator or the gasoline that really ignites the fire. Yeah, so once you have that passion, the fire, the gratitude sort of makes it explode. And you see it everywhere. And then I was looking for that in capoeira, and in capoeira, of course, the first example of gratitude that I can see inside the ritual is the louvações at the end of, of every ladainha. So think about the ritual as it starts, right? The music starts up. The first thing that happens is that the elder of the tribe or one of the warriors sings a poem, right? Sings a poem. This poem has kind of some relevant message. He could be channeling a kind of vibe. He could be sending a message, and at the end of that, before even the game starts, there is a moment of gratitude. E viva meu Deus, e viva meu Deus, camará, right? Yeah, thank you, God. Yeah, thank you, God, camará. Yeah, us together, yeah, camará. Yeah, my friends, my comrades. E viva meu mestre. Thank you to the elders that taught us. E viva meu mestre, camará. E a capoeira. Thank you for the method. E a capoeira, camará. E voltar do mundo. Thank you for the philosophy. E voltar do mundo, camará. So actually, we started every time with gratitude. Maybe sometimes I don't know, maybe as capoeira is expanding around the world, um, it takes time for people to learn the songs, to learn the instruments, but the seed of gratitude is there. When I also think of gratitude, of course, I have to think about the incredible um, line of mentors that I've had over the years. Like when you think back about all the people that taught you something, right? And of course, you have the main teachers, the ones that you really, really sing about and think about. But if you focus out, you're going to see that sometimes you got some random advice, even from a person that you traveled with. And sometimes one idea, opened up the next part of the game for you. So if you think back, it's pretty extraordinary the amount of people that gave us little breadcrumbs along the way, right? And one of the persons I suddenly remembered was Andy. Andy was my tennis coach when I was 6 years old. From age 6 to 12, I was deep, deep passion for tennis, straight from school, 4 or 5 hours a day, training, weekends competing, ranked for my age, sponsors, the whole thing. It was amazing battlefield for me to hone my skills and my coordination. Tennis is very much a martial art, by the way. When you think about it, it's all about the internal. Yeah, it's mostly you win it or lose it in your head, either by making errors or by not controlling your emotions. So it's a very good preparation for martial arts. It's a one-on-one sport. Yeah, there's a net in the middle, but it's a battle. So Andy was my coach, and actually, by a weird coincidence, I'm right now living this whole Volta al Mundo that brought me back to Miami. I'm living right across the street from the tennis courts where I grew up. And I went there the other day to see how it is, and the smell of the grass is familiar. And, my whole childhood was there, like 4 hours every day. That was where I was passionate about. So I literally remember the smells. And a- the only weird thing was suddenly everything looked smaller. Of course, when I was small, so going to the farther court was like, with the big ball, the buckets of balls on your back. I remember it being such a far thing. And, now suddenly, like, it doesn't look so far. But I have to go see if I can find Andy. And Andy, he was a very kind person. He used to take us to competitions on the weekends in his cars. I remember he was a lefty which in tennis creates a different kind. It's almost like in boxing. To box a lefty, it creates different possibilities in the game, right? Because you're not used to it. So he was a lefty and he had his tricks. And I can't remember so much how he looked. I need to look for some old photos, but I'm gonna go there and see if somebody remembers Andy, and I'm gonna thank him because definitely he prepared me physically for everything I went through later in life. When I came to capoeira, I was already like physically, you know, a world-class athlete. So it was only about taking the, understanding capoeira. I didn't have the struggle that many people have today, that first they need to get into reasonable shape and control of their body for even to learn capoeira later. Yeah, you understand that? So in the past, from the first day you came to class, you would be learning capoeira because you came physically prepared. Today, sometimes it takes years for people just to physically prepare themselves to be able to start learning capoeira. So of course we do some, it's not that you're in the first 5 years, you're just going to be doing pull-ups and push-ups. Of course not. So we're using capoeira movements to create the strength, the flexibility, the mobility, the coordination. But in truth is you are still just working because the deterioration, yeah, of of our bodies and our minds and our ability to control them in the last 20, 30 years. It's been going on for many years, but the last 30 years very accelerated because of technology. Yeah. So you see, even if you go to YouTube, there's this amazing video about high school physical education in the United States in the 1960s. Yeah, if you go right, high school physical education 1960s is going to be the first video that's going to pop up. It's going to be black and white. And look how teenagers looked back then. And look at the exercise. Today, it looks like it's a Marine movie. So just so you understand, in the 1960s, the average teenager was doing stuff that today it looks like special Marine stuff are doing. Okay, and I'm not taking away from the Marines, of course, but we have declined so much. So it used to be very normal to do 10 pull-ups in a generation pre-technology where you're playing outside all day. You didn't have to train because all day you were climbing trees, and taking stuff and building stuff. So you can just do it. It was part of your natural expression. If you wanted to play, you had to have power. But today, you don't need any more strength to play because all you need is your finger. So it's okay. Humanity is evolving, but also the function of capoeira inside of it is evolving. So before, capoeira was already something to be played by people that had very good physical abilities. Now capoeira can be used as tools to develop all the human abilities. Yeah, physical, emotional, social, rhythmical, all that stuff. So that was interesting. But anyway, so thank you, Andy, wherever you are. And let's think back a little bit about our lineage, okay? And about our teachers, everybody, not only in capoeira, okay? Zoom out. Eventually, you're going to get to your family, to your parents, to your siblings. These are all teachers. And not always the teaching is given in a pleasant way. Actually, the most important teachings are usually not given in a pleasant way. And the reason is that when it was pleasant, we did not learn. So it kept on becoming unpleasant, unpleasant, unpleasant until it reached the level unpleasantness that our radar registers a lesson. Okay. And as long as we can register the lesson on a high vibration and learn it in a joke, right? The same lesson that the master can tell at the bar, he tells a joke, everybody's laughing, but you understood there was also a lesson there. So if you learn that lesson, no problem, you stay here. But if you didn't understand the joke, then there is a, a lecture, then there's a reprimand, then there's a punishment, then there is an injury, then there's different levels where you're going to eventually learn the lesson. So I think a beautiful thing about becoming a capoeirista is learning to learn the lessons at the higher vibration, which means at the metaphoric level. Learn the lessons in the songs, learn the lessons in the ladainhas, learn the lesson in the game. If you learn the lesson in the game, then you don't have to learn it in life. If you act upon it, of course. Okay. So if in the game you understood not to stress out when you get a hastera, because it's part of the game, and instead of creating tension and popping your knee, you release tension and use this to do a hole and come back with a mia lua, eventually, not on the first time, in your life, when something similar happens, you are not going to, you're not going to react with tension. You're going to say, it's like in the hoda, whoop, and suddenly you're going to be starting to find opportunities in kedas, in falling, because that is the whole art of capoeira. What is the opportunity inside the fall? Can I fall and get injured? Can I fall and cry? Can I fall and get angry and beat up the other guy? Can I fall and laugh? Can I fall and exhale? Can I fall and be creative as I'm falling? Can I fall? Can I fake the fall so the guy thinks I'm falling? And you understand how many lessons or how many levels you can play the game of capoeira. Okay, so I think it's a good place for us. I know that capoeira is going through a moment where we have a lot of reclamas, a lot of what's the word in English? We have, sorry, it's a time where we find ourselves with a lot of complaints, a lot of bitterness, a lot of judgment towards our teachers. It's part of it. And for many things, they maybe deserve to be judged, but maybe we are not the people that should judge them. Okay. I think that it's very important not to throw out the baby with the water, with the bathtub. Do you know this sentence? To throw away the baby with the bathtub? This is, of course, a metaphor, okay? That sometimes we confuse the major and the minor, and we end up throwing away the major together with the minor because the minor, we got focused on the minor. The minor is not important, so we say, let's throw this away, and we throw it away with the major. That is the metaphor of we threw away the baby with the bath water, okay? Obviously, the bath water needs to be drained because it's dirty, but the baby is the main thing. So what is the baby in the metaphor? The baby is the knowledge, the experience, and the raw connection to the essence of capoeira. Okay? What is the bathtub? The water. The water are all the attitudes, the morals, the ethics, the behaviors that are not acceptable in 2023, almost 2024. But we cannot lose all the knowledge of capoeira just because a few attitudes trigger us in a certain way. Okay, so we have to be able to flush out the water. When you take a shower with a baby, every day you flush out the dirty water, because every time you take a shower, the water becomes dirty. In life, it's the same thing. Any teacher you had in your life, you had to get rid of the dirty water, but find the essence, the baby of his teaching. Okay? So, what is the essence of your parents' teaching? Again, not what they wanted to teach you. What is the essence of the teaching? You need to understand that your parents they don't even know what they were doing. Yeah, maybe they had an idea for you like this because depending on the culture they came from, all they saw was this. That doesn't matter what they thought they were teaching you. I'm asking you, what was the teaching of growing up in your childhood? What were you supposed to learn out of that and come out with so much power? Then you go to any teacher, your math teacher, anybody that you remember. It's funny how usually we remember the teachers and not the subjects. If you had a good teacher, you don't even remember what he was teaching because he was a good teacher, right? So think about your life. Go back to those good teachers and not the ones that made you feel good. That is a mistake. A good teacher doesn't always make you feel good because maybe your lesson right now, the only way for you to learn it is at a vibration where you need to be a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, you need to be woken up, you need to be poked at a little bit, and then somebody's trying to wake you up, and then you start hating whatever's poking you, but that's not the idea, you understand? So I'm not talking about extreme situations here, so please don't take me literally for every word. Try to zoom out. I'm speaking here very far away, not local. Okay, I'm not at the street level, okay, of some catastrophe that happened and should never have happened. I'm not even at Google Maps. I'm not even at the city level. I'm at the globe level. Full zoom out about the future. That if we want capoeira to keep growing, we need to have the courage to go back, learn the lessons from the teachers that sometimes the water was not so pure. Not their fault, by the way. We need to learn to forgive also. and accept, okay? And then we can continue on. And all we can hope to do is to be a little bit more pure than the lineage before. And believe me, we also have a lot of dirt. And if now, after you said thank you and you showed gratitude to all of your teachers, many of you are also teachers, okay? And you have helped many, many people around the world in ways that you cannot even imagine, okay? Sometimes a word that comes from a teacher changes a child's life. That teacher doesn't even know, but that child was in a place that all he needed was a little tap on the back or to look him in the eye and give him a punch, right? So you don't know even how many people, but I'm sure that those teachers that have been around for a long time are receiving, like me, on a daily basis, gratitude messages and thank you for saying this and thank you for being there. And it's an amazing feeling, okay? And we are very lucky to be able to serve humanity in the way we are doing. But we also need to know that just like we were triggered by our teachers, there are as many, many people that are triggered by us. Sometimes we notice it, and sometimes we don't notice it, right? So we also need to be able to forgive ourselves and to ask for forgiveness, okay? Because we were just doing our best, we're trying to do our best, but sometimes a word can be said and it's misunderstood. Actually, always, nobody ever understands what you really want to say. You say something, the only thing we can do is to authentically express ourselves, and we need to try to do it in the most softest, pleasant way as possible. Yeah, we start off, we are very prickly. Yeah, we express ourselves, but it's very powerful. Yeah, and as we grow up and as we become a little bit more, refined, we can express ourselves a little bit more delicately. Okay, but still, even if you are super delicate and you say something and 100 people are going to listen to it, it's going to trigger all these people in all different ways depending on where they are at on their journey. Okay, so this is an important way to remember that we are all connected. Okay, and just like we are triggered by others, we trigger others, and the only thing we can really give each other in this community is the work we do on ourselves. So if every day you're a little bit trying to be a more of a witness and less of a judger, okay? If every day you're sitting silently a little bit, maybe playing some birimbau, if every day you're trying to understand a little bit of what's behind the ladainhas, if every day you're doing this little work, slow by slow, you're going to see that as a community, we are going to recover the language of capoeira, which is so rich, by the way. Okay, we need to remember that yoga, for example, has been around for 5,000 years. The capoeira we are doing has been around for less than 100. Can you understand the difference between 100 years and 5,000 years? Imagine how refined. Let's say it's not in art. Let's say it's sugar. So let's say sugar starts off as a cane, sugar cane, and now you start to refine it. Then you have rapadura. After rapadura, you have like raw sugar, this organic raw sugar. Then it slowly until it becomes the most refined sugar, right? This happens through a process. Okay. I know that sugar is unhealthy. I'm not talking about its health qualities. I'm talking about the refinement process. So the same thing happens with art form. So imagine a knowledge that is refined over 5,000 years. Of course, it's at a level of purity that it's a lot easier to consume. That's why all the world is doing yoga and it's doing an amazing job for the world. I think that we all should explore because it's such a powerful technology that inside yoga you have, the plant medicine and the sound medicine and the mantras and the prayers and the meditations and the movements. It's such a big world, okay? And many people just go in there just like capoeira, just to follow one lineage, and some people do a little bit of everything. And anyways, it's a whole culture. But capoeira is also a seed of very powerful knowledge. It's just a seed, it hasn't grown yet. So if yoga is a tree already, capoeira is just a seed, because 100 years in terms of art or culture is nothing. We haven't even started growing outside of the earth. We need to figure out still many, many things. Now, some of the things were lost along the way because the first generations did not have the capacity to communicate it, okay? And some things were lost along the way because we judge each other instead of learning from each other, okay? And some things were lost along the way because of power struggles. Anyways, everything that's happening in the world reflected in capoeira. That's all good. That's all okay. But sound vibration, we have it. We just have to figure it out. Okay. Ceremony, roda, we have it. We have to figure it out. Yeah, we have to crystallize it. We have to refine it. Okay. The movement, it's amazing, but we have to refine it. A lot of the capoeira movement is dangerous or unhealthy or unnatural. It has to be refined until it comes to the most natural, healthy movement, because we want people to be able to practice their whole life. Okay, again, it's not about becoming a good capoeirista, it's about using capoeira to become a good human, okay, and to serve humanity. For one person, he's a doctor, and after the roda, the next day, he's going to do so many more better surgeries because he's going to be centered, connected. He's going to remember his whole group. So suddenly he's going to look at his patient and it's going to be a human being and not just an appointment he has, you know? So the whole quality of the doctor is going to be different. Same thing with a chef, right? A chef is cooking there and he's singing the songs, and in his mind he's vibrating because yesterday was a great class, right? All of this emotion is going to go into the food. It's going to be a better experience. Parents are going to treat children differently. Children that do capoeira are going to understand the whole structure of the family, the hierarchy, because you understand it inside capoeira, that in order for the ritual to uh, to happen, yeah, you need to have a little bit of a hierarchy. It cannot be total equality because some people have been practicing longer. They have more sufficiency, efficiency. They know, they have more sensibility. So if you want the thing to happen, it cannot be 100% equal. It has to have levels of trust, okay, levels of trust and real understanding, and recognizing that what makes you a valuable member of the art is not your belt or your group, it's your ability to transmit energy, okay, and then things are going to start changing. So I wish everybody a great weekend, and I will see you very soon.